You came up with 9, 8 of which are the 8 that I came up with as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's good to know that I'm right and you agree. So. Hello and welcome to the Worldwide Honeymoon Travel Podcast, the podcast that talks about all things couples travel, including destinations, tips, advice, and more. I'm Kat.
I'm Chris.
And this is episode number 210.
You have some big news.
Yeah, big news for me.
And what is that big news?
I beat Christopher in a race. I mean, I win a lot against Christopher, like bracket challenges, that sort of thing, which is always lovely.
Not a lot.
Well,
You've won once.
March Madness.
I believe I won March Madness.
No,
last
you
year.
did not. I have won March Madness like every time we've done it. And then the World Cup bracket challenge. So, I mean, I do pretty well in that regard. But when it comes to running, Chris is usually much faster than me and can easily beat me at a race. And we ran the St. Malachi run here in Cleveland this past weekend, and I beat Christopher on the 5-mile run. And so I'm going to savor this moment. He even tried to catch up to me at one point, and he failed because I beat him and I filmed him running across the finish line.
Are there any asterisks you'd like to put with this? Or...
Nope, that's it. We're moving on.
That's it? You know?
I'll take the win.
I will let you have your moment.
No, okay. Christopher he was running with a friend of ours, and I kept running ahead, and you were like, just keep going. And then...
Well, you were feeling good. Like I
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to Lizzo. That is she's a fantastic artist regardless, but like to run to, awesome. I mean, she's very like empowering, body positive, all that stuff. And you're just like, yeah, I've got this as you're passing people. And you're like, haha, bye sucker. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. Do your hair toss. Check your nails.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, you were feeling good. And yeah, I was like, yeah, go for it.
And then yeah, and then Christopher tried to catch up with me later on, and he didn't. And so, yeah.
Yeah. We hit mile, 4, and I turned to my buddy, and I was like, do you want to, really speed up here and see if we can catch Kat? And he's like, there's no way, because, we had stopped 3 times, twice to wait for other people that we were running near, and then once because a woman tripped and fell really hard because she got caught up in a pothole. Which
that is awful. But Cleveland has so many potholes. I wish they would mark those probably before a race.
There were a lot of potholes.
Because I also saved our friend from falling in just a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
During the race as well.
But yeah, so
there's so many random holes because that's just Cleveland for you, especially during the winter.
I turned to him at mile 4 and I was like, I think that if we busted out a low 7 mile for this last mile, I think we could catch her. Because I knew that we had an uphill, and I was like, I think that I could catch up to her on the uphill. And he was like, we ran together for a little bit, and he was like, I just go for it. I was like, okay. But I forgot that we had stopped so many times, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to catch her. You finished a good 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, several minutes before you. So
there was no way
I don't think the stopping really made a difference. I just beat you, so it's okay. It's okay to admit defeat.
I will let you have your moment.
Okay. Also, this is just a funny thing that I realized that maybe it'll bring some clarity for a few episodes back when we were talking about geysers. So I started just randomly. So I like to watch random shows and stuff that I don't have to pay super close attention to when I'm editing photos and blog posts and stuff. When I'm inserting links and getting photos all put in and stuff. I'll just kind of have a show running in the background. And I started watching Too Hot to Handle, which came out, I guess, during in 2020 and stuff.
What is that?
It's essentially a show where the contestants don't know at first that there's the
Alexa
character, it's an Alexa machine thing that records them and tells them that they're not allowed to have any sort of physical contact with each other, that sort of thing. And it's supposed to help them develop deeper relationships and things like that.
Where are you going with this that it relates to a geyser?
Because people are from all over the world on the show or different places, and there are people from the UK, some British people that are like talking about geezers, right? And you know how in the US a geezer for us is like an old man, essentially. You're like, oh, you old geezer. But I guess at least
Hold on, do that again.
You old geezer. But like in the UK, I guess it means something different. Like it means like, I guess like a polished guy. I don't really know, but it's like not the same thing. So when we were joking about it, geyser versus geezer, I know we have some British listeners, so and maybe you can correct us about what a geezer means for you guys, but I just thought that they probably were listening to it being like, what? It's just like, in Harry Potter, which book was it? The 5th book where it talks about
punting the children across
Filch
the swamp.
punting the children across the swamp. And in the UK, that just means rowing a boat is punting. And the US, that just means like drop kicking something because of football here. So meanwhile, as children, they didn't correct that in the book for, here in the US. And so we're all just reading it as Filch drop kicking children across a pond. And we're like, that checks. That makes sense to us.
Yeah.
And like never questioned it whatsoever.
That was a core character development for him.
Right? We're like, well, I didn't know Filch had quite a leg on him, but I guess he did.
Goodness. Do you have any other news?
Other than just beating Christopher, I don't think
you
so.
You are clinging to that.
No, I just
No, you did run a really, really good race.
Yeah, thank you.
You did.
Thank you.
There were a lot of times where like you were maybe like a stone's throw ahead of us, and you would like I kept seeing you like turn back.
That's because I kept holding back because I wanted to run with you guys, but then you guys were going so slow, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Okay, we were averaging 10-minute miles.
Mine was a 9:30 pace, so
it was you like that's what I said. But like going into the race too, you were like, "Hey, are you okay if I run like a 10:30? Will you run with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then you were just...
I don't know what happens during race days, but I run so much faster. I think it's because I'm just like, I got to get ahead of all these people, even though like there are always going to be people ahead of you.
I love race day.
Yeah.
I just love like the atmosphere. I love how like everyone's out there together.
Yeah.
I mean, there are the elites, right? Like at the front, like, and they're like racing.
It's like below freezing outside and they're wearing shorts and tank tops. And I know it's because they're going to finish the race in like 15 minutes, but...
I think the winner finished in like 25 and change. So like they were ripping off 5-minute miles.
That's insane. But yeah.
I mean, they must not have a wife that refused to allow them to wear shorts.
It was really cold outside. And we walked from there to like the post-race party. And we were freezing at that point. So I'm glad that you ended up wearing your runner leggings.
I love those leggings.
Yeah.
Was that your highlight, beating me?
Yeah, and it was fun to hang out with our friends. We got brunch, which Christopher never likes to go to brunch, so it was great to go to brunch. And
I'm just not, I don't know. Like,
Anthony Bourdain said he hated brunch in a book one time, and Christopher decided he didn't like brunch anymore.
That is not true at all. That is, you love to spin that yarn. No, I think that brunch is, like, when I go out to eat, I want to get, like, my money's worth, right? And I think that
he's a big fan of the Olive Garden endless pasta bowl.
No, okay. Can I just finish my monologue? Brunch, like when you go out and you're getting like eggs and breakfast potatoes, but you're paying like $10 to get that, like that's a very high margin. And like, I don't know, like waffles and that kind of stuff too. I think I make a pretty good waffle and a pretty good pancake. So I don't know. It's not like if I'm like more on the breakfast side of brunch, it is a no-go for me. If I'm more on the lunch side of brunch, I can do that. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit better. But yeah, we don't go out to brunch often. We did that. I saw 3 bison yesterday, which was pretty cool.
I mean, at the zoo.
That's true.
They weren't just roaming the streets of Cleveland.
I also did not go to the zoo. but like there's a road that I was running on. There's like a bridge that goes over a portion of the zoo, and when I was running on that yesterday,
You peeked over.
I peeked over, and because I was looking for like the tigers and some of the big cats, but no go there. I was looking for the wolves, no go there, but I did see 3 bison.
It's great. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. It was pretty cool. That was before you beat me in our race.
Yeah.
So,
Still won. Still counts.
Still counts. My highlight was yesterday as well. It was just a really fun day. Great day. Anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. We should probably get into the topic of, and real meat and potatoes episode of the episode.
Yes. So this is the 3rd episode in a series that we started. Kat and I each sat down and we thought about the 50 countries or U.S. states that would be perfect for a 10-day trip. Why 10 days? Because it's a pretty average amount of time that if people are going to take a trip,
like a big trip,
10 days is right there in the sweet spot, right? It's more than a week, but it's a little less than 2 weeks if you can't swing that for like work or family or what have you. So 10 days.
This is predominantly for, I guess, Americans, because a lot of us get 2 weeks off vacation, that sort of thing. So we're just trying to utilize that amount of time to travel during that short amount of vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like I said, we each came up with our own list of 50 countries or U.S. states. We agreed on 41 of the 50, which was pretty cool. I mean, so 41 are absolutely right. No debate, no questions asked. In episode 208, we talked about the North American countries and the U.S. states. In episode 209, we talked about South America, and Africa is this week. Okay. So I came up with 8 countries in Africa that made my list of 50. You came up with 9, 8 of which are the 8 that I came up with as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's good to know that I'm right and you agree. So,
I will let you have that as well. So, yes, like I said, we're going to talk about the 9 here. Kat had the last one. Both of us had the first 8. And, So what is our first country that we agreed upon here?
All right. A bucket list destination for a 10-day trip would be Botswana. I really would love to go to Botswana one day. It's a great spot for off the beaten path safaris. There aren't nearly as many people that go to Botswana for a safari as opposed to Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa. But there's the Okavango Delta. There's also boat safaris that you can take. Lots of great wildlife, both in the water, outside the water, etc. There's also the Chobe. And yeah, just some great places. Lots of unique experiences there, whether you want to tent camp, but there's also very luxury, eco-friendly resorts as well, because they purposely tried to make it smaller so it is more sustainable, the safari scene there. So there are some great options for eco-friendly and different things like that. On the other hand, it can be a little bit more expensive to go to Botswana on a safari, especially if you do want to stay at like a resort or do the glamping situation versus camping, but definitely worth it still to spend about 10 days going to Okavango and Chobe and just exploring beautiful Botswana and the wildlife.
Would you kayak in a river where there are hippos?
Okay, so we had friends of ours that did like an extended trip, and it included going to Botswana where they did do that.
Yeah. Would you do it?
I mean, they obviously, tour operators aren't going to let you do it if they think it's like dangerous, because that's not going to look good for them, right?
Right.
So my guess is it's like they must know, because hippos have areas that they know, like it's like their turf sort of thing.
This is a long way to answer a yes or no question.
So I think that like they probably just avoid those areas and you can go near it.
No asterisks. Yes or no, would you do this?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Would you?
100%. The more danger...
You just jump in and swim with them.
The more danger I can put myself in, the better for me.
Stop. If not friend, why friend shaped?
That's, a question, a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I know that Botswana is known for that as well.
Yeah, and I definitely think, again, the tour operators are going to try to keep you safe doing that.
Yeah.
as a,
Sure.
make that clear before people are like, oh, you guys just want to get in with hippos. No, trust me. Remember when you, not interrogated, but you antagonized the hippos in
First
Kenya?
off, I didn't antagonize them.
You just walked a little too close to the river cliff, and there was about 20 hippos in the water, and they kept their eyes on you. And I could not imagine trying to kayak through that because I don't think they would be very happy about it.
You know what? There was a stare down, and only one of us retreated. Spoiler alert, it was not me. So,
okay.
There we are. They probably told their hippo friends. Number 2 on our list is Egypt. This was kind of a no-brainer for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have all of the history there, right? Like the pyramids and all of that. You have the Red Sea. You have Cairo. You have the opportunity to cruise down the Nile, which I just think, I mean, there's kind of like a romantic allure about that.
Yeah.
In and of itself. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have much more to say than that. It's just kind of like one of those no-brainer countries. That was going to be included.
Especially, I would love to go. If we ever do get dive certified, which we're thinking about doing. In
the Red Sea?
The Red Sea. I've heard so many amazing things about the Red Sea for diving. Yeah. Like, just beautiful, beautiful diving place. But it's also just, you've got the beaches and, yeah. But then, of course, you've got so many pyramids and tombs and things to explore. I've wanted to go to Egypt ever since seeing The Mummy, except not for the same plot as The Mummy.
Hold on.
I remember how cool it looked when they were in Cairo and then going to see the pyramids before things went down.
I have not seen The Plummy.
The Plummy, you know what I mean.
What is...
The Mummy.
Is that part of the series?
Will you stop it?
The Plummy trilogy?
Oh my gosh.
No, I know what you mean. Like, I was a big fan of the Mummy movies back in the day as well. And
I was terrified of scarabs for a long time. Even in my tiny hometown of Brooksville, Kentucky, I was afraid that scarabs would, because I was a kid when this came out.
Big scarab problem there?
Big scarab, just terrified of that coming to get me in Brooksville, Kentucky. But I don't think it's that big of a problem, at least these days.
In Kentucky or in Egypt?
I guess both.
Fair enough. What is number 3?
Number 3 is a place that we have been to and loved, and that is Kenya. So we went to the Masai Mara and spent a few days there, which I highly recommend. It is one of the most popular destinations to go on a safari for good reason. We really, really enjoyed it. We spent a lot of time out in the bush, checking out lots of various wildlife. We stayed in very beautiful luxe accommodations, which was wonderful. These luxury glamping tents that were huge, and there was even wildlife on the property that we saw. What did we see? Dicks and what's the tiny? There was a couple cats, like ocelot cats, maybe.
There were monkeys.
Oh yeah, we had the monkeys that tried to get in our tents.
Giraffes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot, and it was absolutely beautiful. We did a hot air balloon safari, which I 100% recommend doing. So if you go to the Masai Mara, definitely do a sunrise hot air balloon, because we flew over some zebra, and that was literally the highlight, I think, of the trip. It was so cool. But aside from that, there are other places to go on safari. There's Mbozi, Simbaru, Savo, Maru, and then you can get a little beach time out in Mombasa and on the coast. Places to go enjoy the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Madagascar. This is a country that is pretty high up on my list, as you know. One of the big draws is the wildlife there, the lemur. But it's not just the lemur. There's a bunch of other wildlife as well.
We're just going for the lemurs.
We're just going for the lemurs. And also the national park or national reserve, Singi de Bamaraha, is the one with all of the kind of like the jagged rocks and the cliffs that the lemurs can navigate.
This is from the Obama nature documentary that we watched.
Right, but like that's
that's what we watched, and Christopher was like, we gotta go there.
Yes. But yeah, Madagascar as well, just, I mean, kind of a fascinating country with the diversity of wildlife. that's there. Kind of, I mean, similar to Costa Rica in that way.
Yeah, and the landscapes too. I mean, it's a gigantic island country.
Yes.
Is it? Well, aside from Australia, is it the second largest island country?
Other than Greenland, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is Greenland an island?
I don't think so.
I can't remember.
You know? Well, you have a globe sitting right in front of you. I guess you could,
yeah.
spin that
well,
and take
here,
a look. There you go.
Allow me, please.
Yeah.
If this is accurate,
okay.
Greenland is an island, and if
Oh.
it is to scale, which there is no...
it
there are
probably isn't.
no statements that it is to scale.
It would be
Madagascar
bigger.
is smaller than Greenland.
Okay, well, instead of saying it's the largest or anything, which it's definitely not the largest,
It's-
one of the largest.
It is definitely not the world's smallest island.
Yes.
We're pretty confident in that.
Yeah, yeah.
What's number 5? A country that has long been at the top of your list.
Yes. And do you want to sing a little song from Disney, from Epcot?
Well, I mean, everyone's welcome in Morocco.
Yeah.
Whoop. Let the rhythm take you.
To Morocco.
Morocco.
Yes, the not so authentic Moroccan song that is sang at Epcot.
How do you know?
I don't, so you're right.
Yeah, you've never been there.
I mean, I've been to Epcot's version of Morocco.
I picture those two lines just on repeat.
Yeah.
And if they're not, well then, like, I'm coming home.
Okay. But yes, Morocco has been on my list for a very, very long time. There are just so many cool places to go visit. I mean, first of all, you have the chance to camp out in the Sahara Desert, under the stars, well, in a tent most of the time. But if you want to sleep under the stars, I suppose you could as well. But they have beautiful tent sites for camping there, the chance to explore, go sand surfing, that sort of thing. You have the cool cities. You have Marrakesh, Casablanca, Essaouira, Fez. Yeah. Chefchaouen, the Blue City.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the mountains, and then you also, I think what's also really cool is the old cities are beautiful with the spice markets and also the riads. So there's beautiful, authentic-looking hotels, boutique hotels that you can stay in. So definitely dreaming of visiting Morocco one day. That is high up there. And we've even talked about, aside from, we're going to South Africa here in May, but aside from that, I think the next time we return to Africa, we would really love to go to places in Northern Africa, whether that is Egypt or Morocco. Yeah, that would be, because that's completely different. I mean, completely different than South Africa, Kenya, Uganda. Even those countries are different from each other. But, you're not really going for safari for Morocco or Egypt. You're going for something different. So, yeah.
Yeah. Number 6 is a country that you just mentioned, and that is South Africa. Mm-hmm. This country is held near and dear to both of our hearts. It was our first big international trip together.
It's where it all began.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why we're going back.
But there's just so much to offer in South Africa. Johannesburg, Cape Town. There's the wine regions outside of Cape Town. There's Hermanus, where you can do the great white shark driving.
Or whale watching.
Yeah. There is Kruger National Park, or the Timbavati Game Reserve, which is where we stayed.
Blyde River Canyon.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
The Garden Route.
And yeah, I mean, both of us absolutely loved Cape Town when we went. We hiked Table Mountain. I mean, Robben Island is right there. We did not go to Robben Island, but I mean, you have so many options of so many different 10-day trips that you could take.
And there's a lot to do, whether you want history, you are a wine connoisseur, you're there for safari, you like cities,
road trip, yeah,
beaches, wildlife, like both wildlife on land and in the sea. I just think so much to see and do in South Africa.
It's a country that is very rich with different options.
Yeah, and has a good value for your money, whether you want to go like have a nice dinner in Cape Town, or even safari options are pretty affordable.
Yeah.
You can get some good value there.
Yes.
Yeah. Love South Africa. And I'm very excited to go back. The next on our list is Tanzania. And this is a place that I definitely want to go to. I really wanted to go to when we went to Uganda, but it's a little bit more of an expensive safari destination. You can certainly make it more affordable, but compared to Kenya, it was a little bit cheaper. So we went to Kenya, which no regrets there. It was lovely. But Tanzania is full of wonderful national parks for safari viewing and just nature viewing. You have Ngorongoro Crater, which has all sorts of wildlife in this crater, and it's just stunning. You have the Serengeti, which kind of merges right along into the Masai Mara, connecting Kenya and Tanzania. Lake Manyara, Arusha, and then there's also Zanzibar. So that is it's a popular honeymoon destination to go to Tanzania and go on safari and then head out to Zanzibar for the beautiful beaches and the seafood and all that cool stuff, out there. And there's history too. I mean, there's Stone Town and a lot to see and do around there. So lots, you could spend an entire, 10-day trip. Obviously each of these countries you could spend a 10-day trip, but very quickly you could want to add more to this, to make it a longer trip in just Tanzania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 8, which is the last country that made my list, was Uganda. You have Bwindi Impenetrable Forest. I mean, that's where you are going to be going gorilla trekking. There's Queen Elizabeth National Park, which was a really neat safari experience.
Yeah, they're known for the tree climbing lions.
Yes.
Which is really cool, and we got to see that while we were there.
And it was not a crowded safari either. It was very rare for us to see another safari vehicle, which was nice. It was a very intimate safari.
Yeah, and it's not known for all of the big 5, but you can certainly see quite a few of them there, and it was great.
Yeah.
The tree climbing lions, elephants.
Tree climbing lions were probably the highlight there.
Yeah. We didn't see a leopard.
No, we were
tried.
Looking for a leopard, but we never saw a leopard. We did see hippos.
See a lot of Cape buffalo.
A lot of buffalo, a lot of hippos,
Yeah.
a lot of elephants.
That was the first time we saw hippos out of water.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. I mean, it was just a vast savanna and there's nobody around.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you want to feel like you've got a safari destination to yourself, I would say Queen Elizabeth National Park is a fantastic place. And I loved where we stayed.
I did
Shasha
too.
Wilderness Camp. It
yes.
was, I mean, we stayed in a glamping situation, but we did have the bush showers where they put in the hot water before you shower. And I mean, other than about half of the tent was screen, so you could hear all the sounds of nature, that's for sure. And we were right along the river, and it was magical.
It was.
Yeah.
You also have Kibale National Park, which is where you'll go for primates, and especially chimpanzees. And then an area that we did not get to go to, but that I would love to go to, is Murchison Falls. Did you try to work Murchison Falls in, and it just wasn't there, or?
Well, we had 2 weeks, and we actually spent 10 days in Uganda.
Yes.
So there's our 10-day trip for you. But if we wanted to go on like a safari to Kenya, we didn't have time to add it in.
Got it.
But yeah, and don't forget, source of the Nile is in Jinja. So you've got that is also in Uganda, and of course you have the giant Lake Victoria. In Uganda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the 8 countries that we agreed upon: Botswana, Egypt, Kenya, Madagascar, Morocco, South Africa, Tanzania, and Uganda. You had a 9th country here too. And what was that?
My 9th country is purely for relaxation and sunbathing and snorkeling and maybe diving in sandy beaches, and that is the Seychelles. So it's an island, a multi-island nation. Off in the Indian Ocean, off of the coast off of Africa. But absolutely stunning. You can do they have some small luxury cruises you could potentially take there, or you could just go island hopping, but absolutely stunning, just for snorkeling or diving, sunbathing, beautiful sandy beaches. And they also have these really cool rocks on the beaches too. It's just a beautiful scenery, and it's a very luxurious feeling place to go to for just a nice, delightful beach getaway vacation.
So this would be more of a
I mean, you could do 10 days.
An R&R 10 days.
Yes, but there's nothing wrong with that. Or
No, not at all.
But it's also, I think it's a place that people can combine with, you go on safari for a few, like if you want to go to the Masai Mara and the Seychelles, but as the rules state from Christopher, you're not allowed to combine.
Nope.
But if you just wanted to do that, you could.
But you can't with this game.
Yeah, but not with this game.
In real life, go for it.
Yeah. Also, if you picked, obviously we're going to South Africa here in a couple months, but other than that, what would be your next destination you would like to visit from this list?
From this list? Ooh, that's tough. I'm going to go with Egypt.
Okay. I think I agree with that one.
Okay.
Because we talked about Northern Africa.
I was going down the list and I was like, oh, Botswana. And then I was like, but Egypt. And I'm like, oh, Madagascar. And then I realized that I want to go to all of these, and that's why they made my list.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Egypt
Yeah.
is the next one on my list here.
I think so too.
You agree?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Are there any that you're looking at and you're like, man, like I know my 50. Maybe I did like Chris only did 8. Man, he's probably right.
No.
I want to swap one out and save a country for later.
I've said what I said.
You're good with your 9?
Yeah, Seychelles and all.
That is the confidence of a woman who is coming off a race victory.
That's very true.
Anything else you want to say?
No, I mean, I think I'm really excited. This is such a fun series to do.
It really is.
Yes. Especially knowing that, hey, yes, it is possible to do 10-day trips. Yes, it's hard. It can be harder when you get to places that are a little bit further afield, such as South Africa. I mean, for us, we're going in May and we only have one layover in New York, and then it is a 15-hour flight. So I know that it takes up a lot of time, but it's definitely possible to do these things and come back within a 10-day time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. But yes, if you have questions about that, you can always let us know. And always let us know what you guys would like to hear of future episodes too. We love getting comments and things like that. And we already have some in the works that we're going to do based on some suggestions that you guys have had. So feel free to reach out to us and let us know your bucket list destinations. You can always reach us on Twitter, WWHoneymoon, Instagram at Worldwide Honeymoon, or email kat@worldwidehoneymoon.com. But thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to rate and review our podcast. It takes less than a few minutes and really helps other people find us. Also, if you're enjoying this awesome free information on both the blog and podcast, when you're booking your next trip, head over to worldwidehoneymoon.com/resources and use the links provided. We earn a small commission at no cost to you when you book through these links, and these are all brands and companies we know, love, and use, like Skyscanner for finding the best flight prices, World Nomads for the best travel insurance, TripAdvisor for hotel bookings and reviews, and even Amazon for all of your travel purchases.
Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Wherever you are, wherever you go, remember to make every day a worldwide honeymoon.